There you go. Hi. So, good morning, everybody. Can you hear me all well? Is it loud enough?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Oh, yes.
Great. So, today let's talk about the knowing doing gap, lesson 2. Bob has a promise with this lesson. He said that anyone who makes a decision to master this and the next lesson, lesson 3, your infinite mind, what he said was anyone can turn their annual income into a monthly income. So this is really the lesson that will bring you to that. So today you will learn how to change negative behavior into positive behavior, a repeatable formula to change any habit, a strategy to convert your negative habits to positive results. So Bob said that there are 2 things that you are going to have to know if you're going to create wealth. Well, actually, it's not just wealth; it's everything. But we always like using, money or wealth or financial stuff because you can measure it up to the cent. Like happiness, you cannot really compare or measure. It's something that you just feel for yourself if you feel deeply happy or not so happy. But with wealth, you can always compare it by the cent. So you have to know where you are and you have to know where you are going. And then you've got to get moving. So those are the things that we need to do. And I found this picture. It says, look at this. Now he's dreaming about this car. 10 years later, he still is dreaming about that car. And why? Well, because he never started moving. He just kept on dreaming. So in this lesson, as well as the next, we are going to talk about the why. Why do we continually do things that produce results we don't want? The cause of our problem lies in paradigms. So what is a paradigm? Well, everything is controlled by our paradigms. The money that we make, the weight that we have, our bodies, our self-image, our success in all areas, in relationships, our confidence, everything. Just simply everything is controlled by our paradigm. So I looked up the word paradigm. It says a paradigm is a typical example or pattern of something, a pattern or model. I always look up words, what they mean in the dictionary, but I always look up the word as they exist in my vocabulary and how they feel in my world as well. So it's not just what was taught to me or what do people agree on with that word, but specifically, personally for me. So Sandy Gallagher said, we are literally programmed to act, think, and behave in a certain way. So I've been thinking about this particular sentence for a long time, and what does that mean, and what is the picture that builds in my mind when I think about this? And she says literally programmed. What does that mean? Like, what does that mean when somebody is programming a computer, and even like, for example, Windows 95, if Windows 95 is inside and the packaging outside is the most current one, then what's inside is still Windows 95. You cannot deceive it. What's inside is what's inside. So we are programmed. What does that mean? And I found pictures or a story that makes it so much clearer. So please pay attention to this one because this is how it works with everything. I'm so happy to have found this. Okay, so how is a paradigm formed? A group of scientists placed 5 monkeys in a cage and in the middle a ladder with bananas on top. Every time a monkey went up the ladder, the scientists soaked the rest of the monkeys with cold water. So these are the ones being punished, right, for a behavior that is actually encouraged in the monkey world, because they do need to eat, right? And they love bananas and they follow their thing. They follow their will, their intuition, their highest excitement. But this monkey followed. Do you see you see my arrow, right? When I pointed something?
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic. Okay, good. So this monkey was actually following his will, his bliss, and others were being punished for it. After a while, every time a monkey went up the ladder, the others beat up the one on the ladder. So he was being punished for following his highest excitement because they were being punished that he was following his highest excitement. After some time, no monkey dared to go up the ladder regardless of the temptation. So they really wanted something, but they just did not want to go for it because the pain of going for something they really want seemed to be greater than going for something that they really, really wanted. And also one more thing, because human beings are social beings, we want to, I don't want to say conform, but we do want to get along. We want to be in harmony with the others around us. And so, so sometimes we sacrifice what we really want for what's not really the greater good. But, this story really makes it so clear what it is. It's control. Okay, so scientists then decided to substitute one of the monkeys. The first thing this new monkey did was to go up the ladder. So this is a new monkey. He doesn't know about the others being punished, right? So the first thing this new monkey did was go up the ladder. Immediately, the other monkeys beat him up. After several beatings, the new member learned not to climb the ladder even though he never knew why. The second monkey was substituted and the same occurred. The first participated on the beating for the first monkey, even though he didn't know why they were beating that monkey, right? So the third monkey was changed and the same repeated. He was being beaten. The fourth was substituted and the beating was repeated. And finally, the fifth monkey was replaced. So all five monkeys were replaced now. What was left was a group of 5 monkeys that, even though never received a cold shower, continued to beat up any monkey who attempted to climb the ladder. So this has been happening for generations and generations and generations. This is why we do what we do. So if it was possible to ask the monkeys why they would beat up all those who attempted to go up the ladder, I bet you the answer would be, I don't know. That's how things are done around here. So does that sound familiar? In all areas of our lives, right? So we've got the cultural paradigm, we've got our, family paradigms. Babies are being born told that, this family is our enemy, or I don't know, this football team is our team. Like they get pacifiers that have the logo of the team of the dads, the football team of the dad. They don't even have a choice but to choose their own team. So if that's not happening, something like what happened to Natalie and Carl could happen in the household, that Carl is a football fan of Schalke and Natalie of BVB, which are 2 different teams in Germany. It's so funny that sometimes when they play against each other, we tell the kids that, nobody's allowed to say anything about the other team. You just root for your team, okay? Okay, so why do we keep on doing what we're doing? If there is a different way out there, well, it's because of the programming. It's because of the paradigm. But this is essentially the story of all of us. That's why we're doing what we're doing. So the subconscious dictates to us. It says, this is what we believe, where we belong. For example, we belong in this category, that this is the kind of car that we drive. This is the kind of house that we live in. Or even these are the kinds of friends that we have, or this is the kind of job that we have. So, but why is that? Because of the paradigm, of course. And the solution is to think deep, to think real thoughts, to understand that there is a difference between just mental activity. Mental activity is just, all sorts of ideas and thoughts going through the mind that do not really relate to each other or have no deeper meaning. We really have to think deep and think real thoughts. And we do so by studying. And Bruce Lee said, if you spend too much time thinking about a thing, you'll never get it done. Make at least one definite move daily towards your goal. Was I too fast? Let's just go back. I think I'm too fast. Okay, so if you spend, because I want you to think about the things that I say. Okay, so if you spend too much time thinking about a thing, so remember that picture with that boy thinking about that car, 10 years later, he's still thinking about that car. You'll never get it done. Make at least one definite move daily towards your goal. And that move has to be a goal-achieving move. Not for example, I don't know, managing the bank account or whatever. It could be if you're in sales, to do make that call, to do that presentation. Okay, so we really don't need more information to do a better job. We have to start doing what we already know how to do. This particular lesson puzzled me for a while at the beginning, because I said, well, how are we supposed to do what we're supposed to do if we're not programmed to do it? If we're not programmed to do it, we won't do it. Right? So really the key is not really about the action. I'm sure a lot of you, knowing you guys, a lot of you have done a lot of action, thinking that because we were taught that it's the action that brings the results, which is not true. So lots and lots of actions, but it doesn't take you anywhere or us anywhere. So it's really the combination of thinking the right thoughts, of having the end in mind. Angelique's really good at this. She always talks about having the end in mind. And then moving towards his goal. So having that end in mind while doing the action is what's important to do. So there's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path. Morpheus. So yeah, let's talk about that more and after this on the next slide. So one of the key points, there is an enormous difference between what we know and what we do. And why is that? You know what? I'm just going to open this for whoever wants to answer it. So why is that? Why is there a difference between what we know what to do and what we do? Anybody who wants to answer? Let's see who's on.
Yeah, I can answer that.
Okay.
So, because of our conditioning of when we're growing up, we've obviously conditioned our subconscious mind of what we believe and can do, and those great things. And then we start learning new information of how to be successful, how to lose weight, how to get what we really want. But we don't do it because our conditioning stops us from doing it. So it's the conditioning in our subconscious mind that prevents us from doing what we consciously know. And so that's where the repetition's got to happen, and that'll then put us into the right action, or through that repetition, it'll bring us towards what we want. Yeah,
exactly. We're not programmed to do it, right? It's so obvious when you look at computers, and not just computers that are sitting on the table like a laptop, but like computers that actually, let's just say, like the Tesla, the Tesla computers that are actually making the cars. Every movement and it's machines that are making these cars. So if they're not programmed to do a certain movement, putting this tile into this one, and tile is German, I think. This piece of whatever metal into this piece of metal. So if it's not programmed to do it, it won't do it, right? So we are really like computers when it comes to programming. So yeah, and another reason why we just okay, let me check the next slide. Thank you, Guy. So another reason why we do not do what we know how to do is because school always emphasized in us just knowing things. So if this is the mind, if this circle represents the mind, this is the conscious mind, this is the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is what dictates what we do, what the body does, and the results that we're getting, because it's also what law of attraction is responding to. What the school focuses on is just knowledge, gather more information. But the conscious mind does not dictate the results that we get. It's the subconscious mind. So we are so trained to just look at this, what we know, and that's why so many people are frustrated. The older they get, the more they've learned. They think they've learned, but learning is not really just being able to say the information that they read in the book. Learning, you can say you've learned something when you have gotten the results. That's when you've learned something. Okay, so another key point is the subconscious mind is a part of the mind that expresses whatever is impressed upon it. Okay, so yeah, I was thinking about how do I picture, because we think in pictures, right? So what does this mean? It's impressed upon it. So if you have the conscious mind, for example, you have to impress that information in the subconscious mind. It's almost like you have earth, how do you call this, how do you say that in English? Anyway, you put a seed into the ground, and you impress it, like, for it, just to have a picture, you put the seed and then you put your thumb onto the seed and you put it into the ground and it's there at a certain depth, and you cover it, you water it, you've impressed it into the ground. So that's really what you need to do. From your conscious mind, you impress it into the subconscious mind. And Bob always says, when I look at myself, I see the stick person. When I see the stick person, I see myself. So just have this imaginary line in your head, in the middle of your head, and just because we think in pictures, it's so important. Just imagine yourself, the ideas, the new ideas that you have in your mind that you want to manifest in your physical world. Just impress it into your subconscious mind. And get emotionally involved with it. Okay, so for the purpose of this lesson, you can say the subconscious mind is in control of the doing.
Hey,
Okay.
Hildy.
Yeah? Have a question?
Well, I was going to say for me, when I first started TIR, I had a challenge really understanding what it meant to impress something in the subconscious mind. And I think that for myself, it's about sometimes it's writing something over and over 100 times or saying it out loud. And in addition to the imagining that you're suggesting, I've like you talked about kind of mimicking Bob's body movements too while watching the video. And it's just putting ideas and words into your body. It's using movement, it's using your speech, it's writing with your hand. It can be a variety of different things. And I even heard Sandy say one time how she had to say something over and over and over until she felt like it was enough. It's almost like you're having to do that action, to kind of feel like physically you've planted that seed.
Oh, absolutely. It's not just one thing. Yeah. No, definitely. It's talking yourself into it. It's the affirmations. It's the mirror work. It's everything. It's, as you said, it's the body movements. It's like when you're playing the piano, you're learning a piece, you're repeating it over and over again. All of a sudden, it's so impressed into your subconscious that you can play the piece without even thinking. I mean, you don't look at the notes. You can think about something else and your hands are still playing the piece because your body has memorized the movements of what's next and where to put the fingers and how to, how much to press it strong or soft or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really becoming one with it. So what I was just explaining was a visual about how to impress from the conscious to the subconscious, because if we don't have a picture, it's so abstract. Does
Right.
that make sense? Yeah, but definitely those are the ways to get it into the subconscious mind. So thank you. I love it when you guys talk. Thanks, Daniel.
Yeah.
Okay, so a habit is an idea that is fixed in a person's subconscious mind. It causes them to do something without any conscious thought. And this is really, really, really freaking the tricky part that I have noticed the past few days. The fact that it is not conscious in our minds, it is so difficult. Well, I don't want to say that. No, I should not say that. Challenging to actually figure out what the hell is in my subconscious mind, right? So that's when we need to observe our results. And when we observe our results, and ask for guidance to actually see what's impressed in the subconscious mind, that's when it comes into the light. Because as long as we do not know what's in the subconscious mind, which we usually don't, because there's a reason it's subconscious and not conscious, right? We can't change it unless we know what it is and we know we want to change it into. So a paradigm is a multitude of habits that causes our habitual behavior. Does anyone want to explain the way they understand this phrase? Go ahead, guys. Vianney, can you speak? Maybe you want to explain?
Hey, Hildy.
Yeah.
I don't know if Bernie can chime in, but I was thinking that it's it's. Oh, I think I hear him.
No, go ahead. Okay. Okay. No, okay, Daniel, go ahead. I think he's out.
Sure. I was gonna say I think it's like
Sorry, guys, I can't talk.
Okay. 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 Thanks.
I think
Okay.
it's like a bunch of scientists doing different experiments over us using your example from earlier that have caused all sorts of patterns that kind of crisscross among ourselves that they're interconnected but they produce all sorts of habits at once.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Cool. Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? Angelique, how about you?
Yeah, so basically, the I think the most important picture I've seen about the paradigm is the one where you actually showed us a huge rotating, it's like a clog or a wheel. What is it?
Yeah.
That actually basically everybody, so like when you look at the world, we're all trying to change habits, but then we do all this motivational talk and then we change our behavior, but we don't change our paradigm, which is running the behavior and running the habits. And so when Bob, when you listen to him talk about what a paradigm is, it affects everything in your life, like everything, your self-image, your results, your habits, your beliefs, and really, if you put them all together, it's not just one habit, it's everything is related. So one paradigm, let's say you're going to change one paradigm about, let's say, worthiness.
Oh, wait, sorry. Let me check. Who
Huh?
do Wait, I have to. Who do I mute here? Sorry. Oh, there. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So let's say you change one paradigm about worthiness, that paradigm affects everything. So you might just suddenly feel more beautiful, but you might suddenly believe, you might suddenly get more money, and you might suddenly, feel more loving towards other people. So this is how I understand it, is we don't actually try and change our habits through motivational behavior and, by pumping ourselves up and feeling good and not looking at actually all the real belief system that is apparent through what we do and the results that we get.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the beliefs that we hold is what actually the universe responds to. Whatever it is that we believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the universe has to respond to something, and it's the belief. That's true. And yeah, so thank you for that. And I would just like to add that the paradigm is so strong that it controls our perception. Like we can
Yeah.
see something as good or bad. We can choose it. It even controls our use of time. What we use our time for.
Yes. Yes.
If we're Facebooking a lot, or if we're actually doing goal achieving activities. And even our creativity is controlled by the paradigm, and our effectiveness as well, like how effective we even so effectiveness, it's not just about what we do in the moment, but the timing of it. Like if our paradigm dictates that we always win and we have enough time, we're always ahead of time, we're ahead of the game, we're ahead financially, etc. So when we say we have so much, we could say that we have so little time. Wait, let me close this. I don't know if you guys can see it. Anyway, we have so little time to do everything that we need to do. But we can also say we have so much time. We've got 24 hours. Or we can even say, I've heard Bob say, you've got a minute. A minute is a lot of time, And so when we say that we always have a lot of time, we make that phone call when the other person is free. We make that phone call where the other person on the other end knows what to do for us to get what we want to get. But if we have the paradigm that nothing works out for me, we make the phone call. We get the impulse to make the phone call when that person is in a bad mood and doesn't want to help, So the effectiveness, it's not just us, it's what we attract. So it's all in the paradigm. Our productivity is controlled by it, and our logic, this one's a huge one. Our logic is I mean, like when Trump, was in minus for millions and millions and millions, he just knew that he would make billions and billions and billions. Not a lot of people have the same logic.
No.
Yeah. So it really is, a good thing to understand paradigms and to know how to change them and actually do the work to change them. Thank you so much, Angelique. I can always count on you to talk. Okay. So at times we do things we do not want to do, get the results we do not want, but do it anyway. This is because of the paradigm in the subconscious mind that controls our actions and behaviors. Now, I want to dig deeper into this because as we all are studying Abraham, for example, the challenge with body weight and the food and what the food does to us, as most of you, I think everybody in this call knows that it is not the food that's constant, it's the thoughts that we think about that food. So if we think that that food is going to make us fat, it is going to make us fat. And if we condemn that food and do not eat it, it makes us fat anyway. I mean, how crazy is that? So it's better to love the food and eat what we want to eat and love it and say that this is good for our bodies, right? So the reason why I say this is, we're digging deep into this, because when you read this, at times we do things we do not want to do, get the results we do not want, but do it anyway. This is because of the paradigm in the subconscious mind that controls our actions and behaviors. So if let's just say we didn't know about Abraham, we didn't know about energy, a person who would read this would think, oh, I know, I keep on eating my cake every day and ice cream as well. And
Yum, yum.
I know. It's like, oh, I'm glad I know what I know. But, really for a person who does not know about this, they will think, oh yeah, because I just cannot, I'd rather be fat and eat my cake anyway. But you can have both, you can look good and eat your cake. So it's the action. We really have to understand, like what Angelique was saying as well, is the belief. It's the belief that we hold about every action part that we do. Because we can also say that, oh, I'm so craving for a chocolate cake right now. It will make me feel so good. And then just that action part of going and getting that chocolate cake and savoring it and being in the moment and just enjoying it, it can give you so much energy that you are stepping towards your goal, because after that cake, you're so alive and happy that you're on a completely different vibration and it gets you to your goal. So it's always good to dig deep into these things that are written here. So a common error.
Hildy, is that why you eat so many cakes? And because you eat so many cakes and tiramisus, now I know the secret. Okay, thank you.
Yesterday I was saying to Guy, oh my God, we got to go to South again. I need a cupcake. Let's eat a cupcake. I am ready to jump onto a bus to freaking get a cupcake that I love.
I love it.
Gabriella, I'm so happy for you now.
What did you say?
But this is very interesting parts of it, because I had completely opposite experience with sweet stuff.
Yeah, tell us.
Yeah, I love sweet stuff. I absolutely adore it. And for like 4 months, I just didn't eat it, and at the beginning it was very difficult. And after like 3 or 4 months not eating any sweet stuff, every time now I've got like an ice cream or a cake, I just have such a small part of it. It just really sort of fills me up and just doesn't feel that I can't have the amount of sweet stuff I used to could have, and it's really because it just shifted completely, and I just don't have any cravings. I just don't think about it at all.
Well, because you changed your habit. But you have to understand that there still is an underlying paradigm. And obviously, your paradigm believes that sweets are not good for you, and that it's better for your
Mm,
body. So, whatever you believe, you can
mm,
choose what you want to
mm,
believe. Does that make
mm,
sense?
mm.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Mm,
isn't that interesting? These paradigms. So okay, so the most important part is that you honor your beliefs, you understand your beliefs, you accept your beliefs, and then when you accept them, you can say, okay, I know that you are my belief right now. It's either okay, I love to keep you or I want to change you, and it's up to you. But
mm,
know that it's not what you have, it's not your belief in your conscious mind. It has to be deep down in the subconscious mind, the belief, right? One of the lessons, praxis. So that shows up for you. So the good thing about getting the results that we get, we understand what's in the subconscious. So we know that we need to work more on the belief, if we're not getting the results. If, let's just say, I
mm.
mean, right now, just giving birth and everything, I'm like, oh my God, my body, what happened to my body? But thanks to my thermostat, that at least I already fit into my old pants. I mean, I am not where I was before I was pregnant, but it does not matter. At least I'm back in my old pants. That's fine. I still get to work on paradigms, right? Because it's what's really interesting. So I was pregnant before, like more than 10 years ago, and my belief really was that, okay, so the baby goes out. When the baby's out, you're back to your normal thing because all you had was a baby and it's out now, right? And it seems to me that I have this paradigm that when you get older, when you get your baby at end of 30s, your body may not cope as quickly as when it is in its 20s. Like, damn paradigm.
Mm.
So I've got to work on that too. So everything is just a paradigm, everything
But
is a belief. Yeah.
just like to say that I now believe that what you said about the belief, because having been with you, Hildy, and seeing how you enjoy food, it is such a pleasure being in the company of you when you eat, because you so love food. Whatever, when it's good, oh my God, it's so, and the cake or the tiramisu or whatever, or the burger, you just love it. And the figure you have, it's just, just thinking, where does it go? Where does it go with Hildy? So I really believe now what you said, because you are a living example, because you eat and you had an amazing body when you were pregnant. I mean, there wasn't any fat on you when when I gave you a hug. I was thinking, what is this? So it actually, now I believe it. So I believe it because I see you believing it and I see the results. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. Well, thank you. I'm
interesting.
glad. Oh my goodness.
Such a joy, such a joy, such a joy.
That's great. Oh, thank you, Gabriella.
Oh.
Okay. All right. So let's continue. This is what Angelique was saying a while ago as well. A common error is trying to change results by changing behavior. When this happens, the change is generally temporary because it's so difficult. It's so difficult to change the behavior when the paradigm is the strong thing. That's why we see a lot of people yo-yo, fat and thin and fat and thin, and they're determined to go to the gym every day, Anyway, so just freaking change the paradigm and you're solved, right? So you must be able to see yourself on the screen of your mind already in possession of the goal, and you must seriously want it. Okay, so let's go by this backwards. You must seriously want it. Why is it important to seriously want it? Because if we don't if it's not what we really, really, really want, if it's not our heart's desire, we will stop when it gets too difficult. Because who cares? We don't really want it, right? So make sure to always go back to lesson 1 and know what it is that you really, really want. And dig deep. Don't make it a conscious thought of what is it that I want, because a lot of the times it's just it's what you think you want. You have to feel the emotion of really getting excited about, wow, if I had this, if I achieved this, if I could be this, if, it's something. These are just words, but we need to feel it. Something that excites and scares you at the same time. If it's not the both of it, then it's not that thing yet that you really, really want. So always, it doesn't matter where we are, always go back to your goal and ask yourself if that's really what you want, if that's still what you want, and give it details. So I'm already in possession of the goal. So how would it feel like, how would it feel like, for example, to have a baby, to be with that person, to live with that person? How would it feel like right now, if that were already true, if it had already happened? How would my life be different? Would I still be saying the words I'm saying? I mean, obviously, we wouldn't be talking about when he comes, when she comes, because she's already there. He's already there, right? Our conversations will be different. AC said to us, right? I told her not to put a date on when she's going to meet the guy of her dreams, because she wants to. She should attract who she is and who she wants, not, it shouldn't be the speed. So I did tell her, make room, make space, like make sure you have a double bed. She does. And then, put a toothbrush there, because he's, he needs a toothbrush, and then make space for his clothing. And you have to live as if it's already there, like with your thoughts, with your actions, with your conversations, with everything. And so you must be able to see it on the screen of your mind, just like in this picture. Okay? So you have to have that picture. If you don't have that picture, well, then you don't know what you're working towards. And we've talked about imagination a lot in Neville, and we'll do that when we're in lesson 5. But this is I love this topic, imagination, but that's so important because it's how we create beyond where we're at. Okay, so a way of living. Call these images, so the new images that you have for your life, okay, to mind when you wake up in the morning. It's the first thing when you wake up in the morning. So it is good, for example, I have by my bed a vision board that it's the first thing I look at when I wake up, right? And as the last thing you do before you drop off to sleep. Well, same reason why I have it where it is, because so that I can see it before I sleep. Okay, so the good news is the good habits, once established, are just as hard to break as our bad habits. So the question is it worth it to change the habits? Yes, no, why? Well, let me just check the time. Yeah, I'll just continue because of the time. Okay, so how to create good habits. Let's talk about that. Worksheet introduction of lesson 2. The worksheets are meant as an activity that challenges you to immediately apply the lesson learned. Okay, we were talking about how school teaches us to just have it in the conscious mind, but it has to get into the subconscious mind for results to change. So we have to immediately apply the lesson learned. I suggest that when you do TIR in the morning, take one sentence in that lesson and live it the whole day. For example, one of my favorites was when Sandy was saying, are you thinking about problems or are you thinking about solutions? Just take that sentence with you the whole day and ask yourself that. Ask yourself that. And you will know by the way you feel if you're thinking about problems or if you're thinking about solutions. When you're thinking about solutions, you feel good. The worksheets are an essential part of the Thinking to Results program. Yeah, at the very, very beginning, I tended to be sloppy with the worksheets because I wasn't programmed to do them. I'm like, really? Do I have to write it down? Really? Can't I just think? So each time you watch the video, you should also complete the lesson worksheets. Be sure you're writing out your answers every single time. This is a very essential part. Doug, who is the he takes care of all the consultants. He says that the magic really happens in the worksheets. Okay, so think of any situation where you are not getting the results you want. In as much detail as possible, describe the situation. Now, in as much detail as possible, describe the same situation, but in the way you truly want it to be. Clearly write this description in the present tense. That's extremely important. Not in the past, not in the future, in the present tense. It already is, because it already is in the in a different plane. But then to get it into the physical plane, we have to write it as if it already is. Okay, so review the results that you described above. Highlight all the actions you wrote in both your descriptions. To assist you in improving the situation, we will be dividing these activities into two areas. Non-productive actions referred to as non-productive NPAs and productive actions referred to as PAs. Of course, the objective is to turn all NPAs to PAs, and this is just how your life gets better and better and better and better. Now, ask yourself, if I turn all the NPAs I recognized into PAs, would I get the results that I want? So, well, if this is done correctly, then yes, the answer would definitely be yes. And don't try to do too many at the time, just one or two at a time. And once those are solid, go on to the next, go on to the next. It's not a race. It's better to have them solid and, make sure that you progress instead of trying to do everything at once. Okay, so here's the cycle. Number 1, writing causes thinking. That's why it's important to write. And as Kevin would say, use a blue pen. And the reason for that is because of the vibration of the color blue. Okay, so the frequency of it. So writing causes thinking. So write things down. Thinking creates an image. And we need an image, right? So because we think in images, in pictures. So for the mind to understand it. So this is how we create images. The image steers emotions. So when it steers emotions, that means it's in the subconscious mind. Emotions cause the action. The reason for this is because the body is an instrument of the mind, and the subconscious mind dictates what the body does. So we have to get it into the subconscious mind if we want to get the results that we want and do the actions that are needed to be done to get those results. Number 5, action sets up a reaction. That's the reaction from the outside. That's the law of attraction. And then, as a result of that, we've got new and improved results. And we just keep on doing this over and over and over and over and over again with anything and everything that we want. And that's how we create. Okay, so the knowing doing gap, a strategy to change your habits. Number 1, read your new description every day and imagine yourself with the new behavior. So imagine yourself, whatever it is. In the book, I think Bob talks about how you imagine yourself, instead of drinking Coke, drinking water. So just imagine yourself with a new behavior. Or imagine yourself, standing on stage, giving your speech or playing your music or whatever it is. Just imagine yourself doing it. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand, as Bob always says. So repeat every day for 30 days. Read the persistence chapter of From Think and Grow Rich every day for 30 days. It's a very short chapter because persistence, next week we'll talk more about persistence. So that we have more time. Okay, so I got some quotes from different people. This one's from Bajar. Taking action in the direction of your preference is the mechanism that will shift you to a reality that is more reflective of what you prefer to experience. So taking action is actually signaling the universe that I am ready, that I mean business. This is really what I want, because the universe will just keep on giving you situations and circumstances to act upon when you show the universe that you are ready to act upon those things that you already have here and now. So the universe won't give you more contacts, more situations, more of all these things if you don't show the universe that you are ready to act upon them. So whatever it is that you can act upon, do it. So this is an Abraham one. What you do is minuscule in comparison with what you choose to think, because your vibration is so much more powerful and so much more important. So we actually create with our thoughts and with our vibrations, and the action part is how we enjoy what we've created in our minds. So in your absence of resistance, everything that you have asked for is making its way right to you. So, Gabriella, this is the reason why I eat cupcakes, because when I'm focused on my cupcake, I have no resistance at all to anything else in this world because I'm so focused on my food. I don't know where I got that paradigm from that I love food. But anyway, I use the beliefs that I hold to my advantage. Okay. So Abraham says it's an emotional journey. It's not an action journey. Okay. So a lot of us, we think it's about the action because the action is what brings the results, but that is so shallow. I mean, I've told you guys before, it's like asking a child, so where does water come from? And then a child will say, well, you just, there, turn on the faucet and you get water. But as an adult, well, most of us know that there's so much more than just that. Because if you go to IKEA and look at the kitchens there, if you try to switch on the faucet, there's no water, right? Because there's so much more than just like the facade of being a kitchen. Or, I mean, like if you see a toilet bowl and you cannot just use it when it's there in IKEA, it has to be attached to a lot more that we do not see. So this thing that we do not see, it's the emotional journey. We got to get emotionally involved with what it is that we want and then do the action part. So it's the emotional journey and not an action journey. Although the action part is fun and easy and efficient when the thinking is right. So a river cuts through a rock, not because of its power, but because of its persistence. We all know that, right? So it's just the same thing over and over and over and over again. The right things over and over and over again, I have to add. Okay, so we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. So we have to deliberately choose the habits that we want to be having in our lives. And it's not just about achieving this type of money or this car or whatever. Habits are also the thoughts that we think about ourselves. It's also the habit of how we, talk with our spouse or our children or so many things. There are just so many things that are so much more important than money. Seriously, like when I think of all these people who have accomplished, who have earned so much money. Guy, are you there? Can you talk?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe you can quickly bring up because we're reading the continuum concept and about this how she talks about this actress who has achieved everything and then still felt empty.
Yeah, you're going to find it. Read it out.
You don't have to read it out. Just
It's talking about a certain female blonde actor that was always.
It's hard to hear.
Yeah, it's hard to hear you.
He's following his highest desire, Hildy.
You actually caught me with my legs up the wall. I'm in the bedroom.
Oh, that's why.
Okay, kid.
Yeah, we can hear you better now.
Hang on, let me just put these.
Sorry.
You might want to get your legs down first, Guy.
Sorry, I missed it. I put my headphones on. Say that again, Marianne.
Are your legs back in position now?
They are. I've gone from a yogi to a rally. Okay, so with this lady, she could get anyone she desired. She married and was with men that of physical and business success that most people would just die for, would want to have, dream for. And she was always searching for that missing thing. She was searching for something that she couldn't get hold of, and she, in the end, couldn't get it. She felt she couldn't do it, so she committed suicide. So she was searching for inner completeness, the inner need. Do you want me to explain why that's the case, Hildy?
Yes, yeah, please.
Okay, so with this book, the Continuum Concept, which is what Hildy's used to bring up her children with, is a lot, 99% of the world's population do not feel good about themselves. And the reason why is because of our upbringing, of the conditioning of our parents and how our parents were brought up. And what a baby craves for is the physical contact a lot.
Skin.
And it's, what's that?
The skin on skin.
The skin on skin. That's all they want. So when a baby cries, it's not because, like a lot of people say, you should make your babies cry to sleep. That's the worst thing you can do. But it's a cultural paradigm that you should do that. And what happens is that if you get skin on skin, this is what we're doing with Lisa right now, and we can just see it so obvious that she just like nothing is like being on her mother's stomach or on her mother's boob or against me. Like yesterday she was asleep for 3.5 hours, and that little rap that you might have seen on Facebook, the post I put, was incredible. Like she would have kept going because I guess it was like being in her mother's womb, in Hildy's womb. But so because of that, so I'm trying to think of how I word all this, because you can bring in what I forget. Yeah, sorry, Hildy.
So thank you. That's actually really enough. Because my point is, we think that we want more of this, more of that, craving that when we get there, we'll feel better. But it is actually something from deep, 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 deep down inside. What we need is to be able to learn to love ourselves. Because because we were guessing that it's Marilyn Monroe that she was talking about in this book. Even she who has achieved what she has achieved, she still felt empty inside. So what I'm trying to say here is that it's not about the getting there. It's about the feeling good about yourself. It's about loving yourself. It's about saying, I am where I am and I'm enjoying the journey to where I'm going. And what I love about us meeting up all these, every Tuesday, and we're sharing this energy and we're sharing this information and we're understanding the laws of the universe. Nobody can take this away from us. It's just don't you feel like so much more stable in this understanding that sometimes if somebody could have knocked you down with words or whatever, after a while, after studying this, it's just almost funny. Like, we know what we know, and that person doesn't know what that person knows. So we just feel so much more secure about ourselves. And that's how we really want to live. So my point is, it's really not about trying to achieve this and that and get there quick, whatever. Just enjoy the journey and love yourself. It's really, it's the fundamental. That's all I wanted to say. So thank you for that example, Guy, because that
can I yeah. I'd love to share just a bit more. I mean, what this has done for me, because I've had a bit of time to read when we had that week off social media, is by listening to this lady, I can't think of her name, that's done the continuum concept, is that she said right at the end of this video, it's like a 1-hour video, is that she's found from every single person she talked to, people don't like themselves. And I've realized that it's all about that self-love, like you said. And it was so interesting also because Yaduk put a post up about 2 weeks ago of Conor McGregor. Now, of what I'd seen of this guy, Conor McGregor, who's a fighter, MMA fighter, is he seems like an arrogant sort of a guy. And I went to show Hildy that to prove I was right. When I started playing some of the videos and going, hang on a minute, this is not what, because the media portray a certain thing. It's like Donald Trump and Lord Sugar that's in the UK. Is these guys are actually, well, okay, I'm not sure. From what I understand is that the media, when they do The Apprentice, they have to act. I know Lord Sugar did that because I heard him being interviewed live, is that they're pushed into doing it. So the media bring it across, so it's dramatized. So when I started watching this guy, Conor McGregor, I was so freaking inspired. It blew my freaking mind what this guy does. I mean, he is living and breathing a lot of TIR, and he's a living example of it. And it just made me think, okay, it's all about, we know it's about the belief, but it's about the self-image, all about the self-image. So now, like, we have a lift. So every time I jump in the lift, I look in the mirror and I just say, I love you. And I just got everything. Like, it's just all about the self-image. It's just taking me to a whole new level. Is that, yeah. And she said in the video just finally that once they started to change that self-image and heal themselves, is that the clothes they wore changed, the people that they attracted, like everything changed, like we hear on TIR. So very, very powerful.
Yeah, cool. Thanks. Everything is about self-image. It's so true. So that's lesson 6. We'll get there.
Can I say something, Hildy?
Yes, you may.
In my new skin company, there was a lady that came on live, and she's a team elite. She's amazing. She has everything she wants: the house, the car, the lifestyle. But she didn't have the happiness, and she came on and did a live video and expressed her anxieties to everyone, and she was just expressing that you could have everything in the world, but she didn't have her happiness. So it's so important to focus on that first, isn't it, before anything else?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you don't have happiness, what the hell do you have, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and it's about relationships as well. Like, but first and foremost, your relationship with yourself, and then everybody else will just reflect that anyway.
Can
But
I say something, Hildy,
of
in
course.
response to this? I think it's really the big misconception in our world, and it's also because of because of the way we raised as children, that we first think that everything we want comes from the external world, but actually when you study the laws, everything comes from the internal. Everything is created internally.
Well,
So
absolutely.
people think getting the money, getting the relationship, being thin, getting the house, getting the pin title, landing that deal, selling your company, then, oh my God, I'm going to be happy. But it's not. Basically, this is why we need to determine so clearly what is it that we want, and is it the money, or is it actually the freedom? Is it the relationship, or is it the companionship, or the fact that we have a tribe around us? And it's not about getting. That's the wrong paradigm. That's really the wrong success paradigm. The real success paradigm is about living a life that we want to jump out of bed every day, doing what we love, and and basically working and being with people that we love. And I think it is really the law of cause and effect. My favorite law, as you know, law of cause and effect. It all starts with with ourselves. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And oh my God, I was talking to my mother just a few days ago, and I was telling her, God, I love so much what I'm doing. I love so much what I'm doing. And then she said, yeah, I keep on saying on Facebook, so many people are so grateful for you. She has no idea what I'm doing. I don't think she would understand. And she even said, who's Angelique Zhang? Is she Chinese?
No.
Anyway, so my point is just, I just love so much what I do because of giving. I get so much in return because it's law. And when somebody says thank you so much, and Annie, oh my God, Annie sent us the most amazing gift for Aliza. It was just so beautiful. I had tears in my eyes, and Guy and I were opening it like it was Christmas Day for two children.
It was amazing.
I know.
Wow, so beautiful.
Thank you so much, Annie. I think she is Nicole, right?
Yeah, you're welcome.
Oh my God! See, I still have tears in my eyes now just thinking about it, and it's. Oh my God! Sorry, I'm just so appreciative of my life. I just love it so much with everything that's in it. Oh my goodness! Okay, guys. So 2 minutes to go. So let me just finish. Okay, so we first make our habits, then our habits make us. So we become our habits. Yeah. And then this one is a really good one too. I've showed it before, but it's so good that I need to show it again. Look at this picture here. So sometimes holding on does more damage than letting go. So sacrifice something of a lower nature to let in one of a higher nature. So the most difficult part for most people to do is to let go of who they think they are, to become the new person of who they really want to be and who they really are, and making their excellence shine, their perfection shine. So just let go of the person that you think you were, and just redefine yourself every day or even every moment of who you want to be. Yeah, so that was it. So do you guys have any more questions or want to talk about something? We've got a minute. We can even make 2 minutes out of it.
Okay, I have a question, Hildy.
Yeah.
I've been having challenges with consistency in goals. So let's say I want it to sing, or then maybe a few days later I want a convertible. And
You can have both.
so, well, sure, I have maybe 8 or 9 big goals, and they make me so happy. But I feel like Bob is saying to have 1 or 2 goals, and you have to stay with it all the time, or it will not manifest. That kind of thing.
Oh, you know what?
What
Okay, first of all,
do you consistently?
well, what? Say it again.
So, what are your thoughts about consistency with goals?
Okay. That's very interesting because I like that you say consistency because I was going to talk about that next week, the difference for me between being persistent and being consistent. So, first of all, the thing is, you have to go after something you really, 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 really want. Okay, it's the biggest goal. You go after the biggest goal. It's on a lot higher vibration. When you reach that star, everything else will just fall into place. Let's just say you want to sing on stage and make your money singing, uplifting people. You will have that money to buy that convertible. Does that make sense? I mean, you don't have to make that convertible your
Sure.
goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you take the highest one and the ones that speaks to your heart the most and focus on that. And another thing is this. It's another paradigm because Abraham talks about when we were children, we would say, we want this toy. And then, so we bug our parents, you want this toy, you want this toy, okay, you want this toy. And then the parents buy it, okay? And the child plays with it for 30 minutes and leaves it by the side. And then the parent goes like, what the hell was that? You said you want this toy, you're not playing with this toy. From the perception of the child, I'm done playing with this toy. There's nothing else I can learn out of this toy. I'm on to the next, right? So, like, it's okay. I was talking to Yarek. Is he still on the call? Yarek, are you still on the call? Let me check. Yeah. Yarek, do you remember we were talking about how we were having these goals and we want this, we really want this. And then we talked again a few weeks later and we're like, oh, I think we want something else. Like we've played having that thing in our minds for so long, and we were having fun playing with that thing in our minds, having it already, that we got bored with it. We wanted something new. Yarek, can you speak? Can you talk about that?
I'm on the tube right now.
Oh, okay. All right, great.
So I can't really talk.
Okay, no problem. But that's how it is, and that's fine. It's all right. Don't beat up yourself on that, huh?
But you still have some overarching goal, some bigger goal, and then you have all these little goals that you were talking about with Yarek that you're still going after. Is that how it is? Because those things change, but the big goal still is out there, and you're dreaming about it. It's on your goal card.
Oh, that is such a tricky one that you're asking for a personal question. But look, the thing is, I have been studying Abraham for over a decade and very religiously, and I live Abraham so much more than Bob. What I'm doing here is that I'm giving the information that people want to hear, who want to hear Bob's style. So I can teach Bob's style, which is that one huge goal. The thing is, though, I am so happy with who I am and where I am. I feel so fulfilled that I don't feel like I need to go after something, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like some people have this. Actually, this is just something that I realized just yesterday talking to Guy about this, because he's reading the continuum concept again, right? I have this friend who's a consultant. She was talking about how she has this burning desire in her belly to reach the inner circle of Bob, and she'd do everything for it. And I was thinking to myself for a long time, why don't I have a burning desire for something, for anything? And then I realized, because of my upbringing, I was brought up the continuum concept way, which was I was handed over from one person to another. I always had contact. I was always loved. I was always praised. I was my inner longings of more, and the fear is gone. It's just, I am just floating through life, if that makes sense. But this is just me
Oh, yeah.
personally, yeah. Yeah, but yeah, but so that was a really tricky question.
My
Yeah,
God, that is so beautiful. What you just said, that brings tears to my eyes. That is so beautiful,
really.
Hildy.
Oh,
Yes,
well,
yes.
that's why I guess the way I do TIR with you guys is the way I do TIR with you guys, because it's not about reaching that goal and everybody seeing that you've accomplished it. My biggest thing for you, everyone on this call, is for you to find the place of loving yourself so much that there's nobody else who loves you more than you do yourself. That is my goal for all of you, kind of. That's why I'm bringing in all the other teachings as well. Yeah. Anyway,
Awesome. Awesome.
oh my God, I love you guys.
It's working.
Yay. Okay. Oh, thank you so much. I love this call so much. So I'll see you guys next week. Take care.
I love
Thank
you,
you.
Hildy.
Thanks, Hildy.
Bye,
Bye.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Au revoir.
Bye.